how to compete, and that's something I love to do. And he really helped me kind of hone that, and just play hard. And that was the biggest thing with him. You gotta be able to play hard, and you gotta defend, and you gotta be tough. And those are the three things that really I had going in there, and really polished those my 4 years there.
How does he build toughness, like on a day-to-day basis with you guys?
He pushes you to the limit, and he's gonna keep doing that day in and day out. He wants to make practice an environment where you're facing adversity, and so in the game, it's easier. He wants practice to be as hard as it can be, and you do that, and you're going against upperclassmen. When I was a freshman, I went going against James Bell and Darren Hilliard every day, and they're kicking my butt. So you get those toughness from the vets.
Okay, now I know you won a ton in college, but I've got to ask you about a couple of losses this year. You lost twice to Butler.
I don't want to hear it.
You're in Indianapolis. I got to ask you the question.
I knew. Anybody non-Butler questions, I'm taking.
What made playing Butler so difficult?
Just the Butler way. They were great in doing what they did, executing the game plan, being tough. And we knew, whenever we played Butler, it was going to be a dogfight, and that's how it always was. Unfortunately, they got the better of us, those two times. But it was great playing against those guys.
Was this your first workout? And
yeah,
it was. How'd you feel it went? And what were your thoughts going into this, and what this experience might be like?
I mean, I knew last year just from testing the waters, what to kind of expect. I just wanted to go in here and compete, and that's what I felt like I did.
Is it tough having reached the level that you reached as a college player now to go back into the pool and sort of have to swim your way back to the top?
I mean, that's how it really is. You start off in high school. You get recruited, you're one of the best guys on your high school team, one of the best guys in your area, and then you go to college, then you have to start right back from the bottom, and then you work your way up, and then you get to the NBA. Hopefully you get to the NBA, and you start from the bottom, have to work your way all the way up. So it's how it is, how this game is. So it's just, my path.
What skills do you think you could bring to the Pacers if they drafted you?
Winning. I think winning. That's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, I do those little things to win. Everyone thinks, winning is making that one big shot, but you don't realize how many, how big each possession is. And if you take, 1 or 2 possessions off, that can cost your team the game. I don't know how many times, especially in the playoffs, you see it. You've seen it a lot of times this year. It goes down to one possession, and you think about all those one possessions that you took off. It could be the difference of winning, and I think that's I just don't take possessions off.
When you got a Hall of Famer shaking your hand at the end of the workout, what's that moment like?
Oh, it's cool. I was just thinking. I was just sitting there, and he just came over and shook my hand. I was just like, dang, that's one of the top 5 greatest players ever. That's kind of crazy. But it's an honor and it's humbling.
Josh, in today's game with positionless basketball, do you see yourself as a combo guard here in the next level?
Yeah, I think I can play 4 different positions, especially how this league is going, how basketball in the whole is going. You see that at Nova. My whole career I played, the 1 through the 5 there, and that's the biggest part. That's how college basketball is going. And NBA basketball, for the most part.
At the Combine, what were those interviews like to go through those? Because one of those was with the Pacers, correct?
I didn't have one with the Pacers. I think I had one with the Pacers last year. Repetitive, I guess. You say your background and your upbringing a lot. You answer a lot of the same questions about who you compare yourself to, your strengths, your weaknesses, and that kind of thing. So. Obviously there'll be a little, change of pace with, different interviews, but for the most part, that's what it is.
So more personal, more background, less so basketball. Is that fair?
It's a little bit of both, but you have the same question. Everyone wants to know your background, and then everyone wants to see how, you are as a person.